Hey everybody, welcome back to Just Dead Wood in our new old house in Savannah. As we continue to explore our new old house, we find out more and more things. We find out that we have a gate back here with access to a waterway behind our house. Didn't know that. That's fascinating as we cut more growth back. And then one other thing that my wife discovered, which I'm now discovering. Many people in Savannah, or I guess along the coast of Georgia, have these things in their yard. And I had no idea what it was, except that it was some sort of pump. I don't know what feeds it, or where it goes, or what it does. The lady who owned the house prior to us had several garden hoses buried throughout the yard. They all seem to attach here, so I think it was for some sort of sprinkler system for the yard. And it's a well pump type setup where it might draw water from the waterway that's right behind our house. Anyway, my wife hates it. Doesn't want to see it, but we might use it in the future. So rather than just rip it out of the ground, I'm going to build a quick screen to hide this pump, and then we're going to add this climbing red flowering plant in front of it to let it climb up and hide this hideous looking pump, according to my wife. What I'm going to do is use this piece of lattice and build a frame for it out of pressure treated. This is of course pressure treated 4x8 sheet of lattice. This is pressure treated 2x4s. I'm going to route an edge along the narrow end of the 2x4, somewhere near the middle. The beauty of this outdoor project is it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to route a rabbit or a dado or whatever you call it, a slot down here in the middle, and build a little picture frame for the lattice work, and then attach it to the house to hide the pump. So follow along. Kind of windy and overcast today, as you can hear from the wind chimes. Sounds like we got church bells going on. All right, here we go. Throw my 2x4s across a couple of old sawhorses, and I'm going to use this Ryobi trim router to cut the groove along the 2x4. I'm using an old scrap piece of wood that I know has a straight edge on it. I've clamped it using a couple of small C-clamps to the base of the router, and I've lined it up so that the groove is going to be approximately in the center of the 2x4. Now this is a really old bit, and it's probably very dull, so I'm going to take a bunch of shallow passes to get this done. Now, if I'm being perfectly honest, power tools scare the heck out of me. So I'm taking the battery out anytime I'm making any adjustments. I'm taking ultra shallow passes. I'm going really slow and taking my time and giving it a healthy dose of respect, and try not to lose any fingers in the process.
Hours later.
Whew, pressure treated is a mess. Especially with a dull blade and an underpowered trim router. Anyway, with a healthy dose of respect and slow and caution, really a healthy dose of fear, we made it through there, and I still have all my fingers. Okay, so I took it over to the miter saw, and I went ahead and 45'd one corner on the long piece. This is a 4x8 sheet of lattice, and so I bought an 8-foot piece of 2x4 and a 12-foot piece of 2x4, and I'm going to use a 4-foot piece across the top, and whatever rest comes down the sides will come down the sides. I'm not very worried about the dimensions, but I do want it to fit around as a picture frame appropriately. So what I've done is I've laid it into the groove on the ground, and I've lined up the inside rabbit, dado, whatever it's called. I've lined up the slot with the edge of this just shy of the edge of the lattice work, so that I can measure where to cut the inside corner of the other 45. So if we come over here to this side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going gonna line up the straight edge, and I'm gonna draw a line where this thing needs to be cut. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but inside this groove I cut for the lattice panel, that's 4 feet. The lattice is 4 feet wide, and so from the inside of this groove to the inside line here is 4 feet. So I need to sneak up on that line in the groove, which is set approximately a 1/2 inch back. Now I've left a little bit of room to my line so I can sneak up on it. We're at 4 foot on the bottom on the short point. We need to be 4 foot in this groove. So we're a little long right now. And that's 4 foot. Took my line right off. Now I'll just miter the 2 sides and we'll bang it together. All of the pieces cut and laid out. Hopefully, the hope is we'll be able to bang it together. While you're watching me fumble around, screwing the corners together with exterior deck screws and some GRK fasteners and petting the puppies that I'm dog sitting, you'll see me in a moment staple the sides together and then try to stand it up and get it attached to the house. But in the meanwhile, I just wanted to say thanks for watching. I appreciate my audience, and I appreciate anybody who's interested in watching me fumble around with this stuff. I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy putting the videos together for you guys to watch. And if it's something that interests you, please consider subscribing or giving a thumbs up, or even, especially, appreciate it if you leave any comments below. I'd love to hear it and love to communicate with whoever's watching and get an idea of what you liked, you didn't like, anything that could be done differently or better. Everybody's welcome. I appreciate it. And please continue watching. Thank you. For the final act, I'm just going to put the final touches on this trench I dug. I dug down about 8 or 12 inches or so. I'm going to put the bottom of this lattice work and frame into the dirt. That should help hold it in place. It is dirt rated, pressure treated lumber, so I'm going to put it in the earth and let it just stick down, which works because the sides didn't actually come down as far as I was envisioning. So the bottom being in the dirt will hide that they're not as long as I thought they were, and the dirt will also help secure it. So for attaching it to the wall, I'm just using a scrap piece of pressure treated 2x4, and I'm drilling 3 holes into that 2x4, and wherever those holes come through, it's marking the brick where I need to drill anchors. Then I came back and used a concrete bit, drilled 3 holes into the bricks, and then I inserted plastic brick anchors, and I'm just going to use those plastic brick anchors to hold this 2x4 to the wall. It was a little tricky lining all 3 holes up through the 2x4 into the brick anchors, but once I got them all lined up and secured, then I just grabbed the lattice work, pulled it tight against the wall, and anchored it sideways through the 2x4 on the wall into the lattice work frame. And then once I got it all mounted securely, I just gave it the good old dad, this ain't going nowhere shake, and let's see if Mom approves.
Yeah, no, it looks awesome. Really, really nice. Nice, nice, nice. Very exciting.
Okay, no more ugly fountain or pump or whatever that was, and hopefully it'll stay in place and continue to screen the fountain and look decent, and the wind doesn't blow it down. And all I have left to do is figure out how to create a screen so my wife doesn't have to look at me every day. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.